23mm f1.4 lens from Viltrox is, in my opinion, the best do-it-all lens for the Canon EF-M mount. Here's why. At just over half a pound and about 3 inches long, this lens certainly isn't a pancake lens. However, it's nothing close to being too big. It's just about the perfect size lens being paired with Canon's mirrorless bodies. I think Viltrox made a great choice by going with a full metal construction with this lens, because it really makes this lens feel like it's worth well over its $300 price point. And when I say it's an all-metal build, I mean literally, even the lens hood is made out of metal. Definitely not something you see very often, having a metal lens hood. And it just adds to the expensive feel of this lens, and it really gives you great value and good protection. Now, the only thing about this lens that doesn't really live up to its premium look and feel is that it doesn't have any sort of weather sealing, it doesn't have any gaskets on the lens mount or anything like that. So this lens is not at all weather sealed. However, I did take it out in kind of a snowy condition, and some drops of water got on it and I've had no issues with it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend doing anything like that or taking this lens into any sort of moisture. In terms of specs, this lens has a maximum aperture of f1.4, which is amazing for taking photos in low light scenarios, and it really helps to separate your subject from the background and give you some great looking shots. Being 23mm, this lens has a full frame equivalent field of view of 37mm. This is my all-time favorite focal length, and it can be used for pretty much any type of photography, but probably the best ways to use this lens are for travel and street photography and full-body portraits, or really any other sort of portrait of people, because it's not wide enough to distort anything too much, like people's faces or the way anything looks, but it's also not so telephoto that you have to back up like 50 feet to get a photo of someone. Sharpness is something that this lens really excels in. So the middle of your frame will be tack sharp no matter what f-stop you're at, but the sharpness does fall off towards the edges at wide f-stops, but really anything after f2.8 and you're gonna get some insanely sharp photos. There's also some chromatic aberration at wide f-stops, but it's not really a deal breaker, and for the most part it's not really noticeable unless you want to crop in a lot in your images. The manual aperturing on this lens is really smooth as well, and it makes this lens a great contender for video. But if you don't like this ring and you'd rather just change your aperture in your camera or just have it automatically set by your camera, just turn this ring over to the A and you should be all set. I've had no complaints about autofocus either. It's been pretty much just as fast as any of Canon's offerings for the EF-M mount. So autofocus is nice and fast, all the modes are available. I'm using face tracking right now. If I didn't mention it already, I'm actually recording with this lens right now on my Canon M50, so this is kind of a little bit of an example of what it looks like. But like I said, I've had no issues with autofocus, and so far it hasn't let me down at all. It's been really fast and great. So that should cover just about anything you need to know about this lens, and also a bunch of photo and video examples. But if you do have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you want to pick up this lens, I have an affiliate link down in the description. If you do purchase this lens through that link, I'll get a small kickback at no extra cost to you, so it'd really help out my channel, help me create more of these videos in the future. And last but not least, feel free to go down and hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.